Hello, Richard from budgetguitarist.com. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so last year I did kind of a heavy video, and this year I decided to do a little bit more of a clinical presentation called Musicians and Depression, Strategies That Might Help. As someone who's battled depression myself, I don't want to be trite about this. If you're seriously depressed, it might be because of something happening chemically in your brain, and you may need to get help from a professional. So this video is really designed towards the more standard, mundane depression that a lot of musicians feel from time to time. Musicians are 3 times more likely to be depressed than the general population. Why is this? Well, I'm not an expert, but as a musician who's been depressed before, I know what I've observed with me and with my friends, and hence this presentation. So I've come up with a short list of 4 reasons musicians sometimes get depressed and several strategies that might be helpful. Let's get started. Problem 1. Comparing yourself to Joe Satriani or any other guitar player. You practice 20 minutes a week and you have a full-time job, a house to take care of, and 5 other hobbies. And one Joe video has you depressed saying, well, I might as well quit. Or what about that 14-year-old girl who can play 4 times faster than you? Are you impressed, depressed, or both? Personally, I love it. I love that kids are still learning guitar. I love that girls are getting more involved. I've seen 7-year-old girls play 64th notes on a violin. We want to judge others to make ourselves feel better, but we can also feel better by giving young people with talent encouragement. Comparing yourself to others is counterproductive. Here's a better idea. Think about having some musical goals that are practical and then working toward those goals. If you want to be a shredder, that's one thing. But in most styles of music, 2 things separate the good players from the bad: timing and playing with feel. You don't need massive talent to learn these 2 things. You just need to practice and to develop your ear. And these 2 skills will deteriorate without practice. You don't need to be able to play a million miles an hour to be an amazing guitar player. Problem number 2. Feeling down because playing your instrument isn't fun anymore. Sometimes this can be hard to figure out. Here are some thoughts to consider. Maybe your goal is just to have fun. If you play guitar strictly because you enjoy it, then picking up a guitar, playing it, being bored, and putting it back down sort of invalidates that goal. This causes some people to quit, which is too bad. There's nothing wrong with playing for fun. And there's nothing wrong with taking a break from it for a while and doing something else. Some rock stars can take a month or more off from their instruments after a tour. Why should you be any different? Maybe you have a goal that's too hard or too easy. Video game designers are experts at understanding that humans like a challenge that's not too hard or not too easy. Too hard, people give up. Too easy, people get bored. Figure out which is you, and then pick a harder or easier goal. Or maybe you have no goal at all. We've all been there. You pick up the guitar, you play the same old blues licks, you play a few chords of a song you've played a million times before, you get bored, you set the guitar back down. That's called stagnation. And even if you tell yourself it's fun, your subconscious isn't fooled, and it'll nag at you. If you're stuck, figure out something you can almost do, then find some YouTube demonstration videos. Set a timer for 20 minutes each day and just work on that one thing. Or you can always try taking that break from your instrument. Sometimes I like to watch concerts on YouTube. That often inspires me. Problem number 3. Feeling depressed because you don't think you're as good as you should be. Playing an instrument is like anything else in life. You decide how much time you want to put into it. If you don't put in more than 10 minutes a day, it's going to take a long time to improve, and that's okay. Music should be fun. If you're playing an hour a day and you're not improving, have a look at what you're doing. Are you just playing the same songs you know over and over again? I've been there. It can be fun, but if you already know them, you won't improve. There's nothing wrong with not improving, by the way, if you're having fun. If you want to be a professional musician, you need to practice a lot. If you play for fun, you set the goals, nobody else. Here's a good idea. Try improvising over backing tracks. YouTube is full of them. Practice improvising. Personally, this is something I need to do more of. Problem 4. Feeling sad because you wanted to be a rock star and it never happened, or maybe it didn't happen yet. If you want to make a living as a guitar player, you can. You can give lessons, play in local bands, work at a guitar center, start a YouTube channel, start a guitar website, etc., and so on. If your goal is to be a millionaire playing guitar, you're looking at lottery odds. Look at Steven Wilson. He's a big name in progressive rock, and he had a full-time job and composed the music he wanted to make on the side. Eventually, he got successful enough to quit his job. But if he hadn't, he'd still be making the music he wants to make. You can make the music you want to make. No one is stopping you. Whether you make a living at it depends on how other people feel about your music. But you're competing with the entire history of recorded music. Don't feel bad if people don't like your music as much as the Beatles. Just be yourself. I see some very successful YouTubers say, don't have a backup plan, which is funny because they're doing YouTube in addition to doing gigs because a successful YouTube channel can bring in money. That's no different than giving lessons. In some cases, they are giving lessons on their channel. They're making a living in the music business. Is that a backup plan? Depends what your goal is. If you want to be a rock star, making YouTube tutorial videos is a backup plan. If you want to make a living in the music business, it's not a backup plan. You're succeeding. There's an old mindset that goes something like this. You get a record contract when you're in your 20s, you can make an album and have a career. If you haven't succeeded by your early 30s, you should give up the dream and quit music and get a so-called real job. But that's old-fashioned thinking. You don't need a record contract these days to make an album or do gigs or tour. And you can make a living any way you want. If working in the music biz is fun for you, great. If not, do something else. Hack the system. List all of your interests. See if there are any jobs in those areas that pay. I don't do music for a living, but I do have a great home studio and a cool guitar collection, and I have 5 albums out, and I run a YouTube channel and the budgetguitarist.com website. You know why? I chose my own adventure. You can do that too. Choose your own adventure. In conclusion, it's important to try to understand why you are depressed. Once you identify the problem, it's easier to come up with solutions. But if you're unhappy making music, the best question is, what would make it fun? And then do that, or do that to whatever extent you can. And there you go. That was my 2022 presentation on music and depression. If you found any of this useful, please consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again next Friday at 5.